Yeah, family, time to start the show. As most of y'all know, I recently just did an episode for a Player's Understanding, and the title of the episode was What Men Want and the Real Question That Women Should Ask, something to that extent. And basically, what today's topic is going to be is addressing how a woman can get a man to appreciate her for more than her sex. I chose to do it in the Ask GTV format because it is a serious topic and it's not something that I want to take lightly, and more importantly, it's not something I want any of you to take lightly. You know, no froze, no wigs, no Jodeci, no jokes, you know, because this is your life and I take your life seriously. And as you should, and more importantly, I take my life seriously. And when it's time for no games, then ain't no games. So with that said, let me get into it. The first true step in getting a man to see you as more than just sex is to not have sex. Now, the reason I say that is because as men, we are naturally handicapped by the monstrosity of our sexual drive. Now, with that said, let me say this. I cannot express to you enough how difficult the course for you to attain a man is. It is. You know, it's much easier for us because, you know, as men, as long as we have our lives together, you know, as long as we make some good money, got a stable crib, stable life, then we can always find a woman to be with us because a woman is always looking for that sense of stability. Plus, women outnumber us. It's also harder because you have to go through his blatant ignorance of himself, his blatant ignorance of women, you know, to get him to the point of appreciation. And some men will be easier than others, but I mean, hell, you're out in the game. You know, you meet more idiots than you do good men. That's the way it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. And the flip side is, as men, a lot of times we meet more idiots than we do good women, but we don't care because at the end of the day, goal number one is the pipe. If anything comes from after that, then shall be. But it ain't nothing that we worrying about. So it is so important that you abstain from sex as much as possible in the initial phases, because you have to look at it like this. If you get him, you can fuck him all day. You know, there's a lot of time to catch up on sex, rest assured. You know what I mean? There's plenty of time. So for a man to see you as more, you have to demand him to see you as more. You have to demand his conversation. You have to demand his attention while keeping your legs closed. And to be honest with you, as difficult as the game is, if you play the game the right way with your legs closed, you're gonna win every time, because the last thing you want is a bunch of niggas digging you out who don't give a fuck about you no way. That's why I'm here, if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. You know, if that's what you want, come see your boy, because I'm gonna plug it all day. But you're not about that. I'm not really about that. Was I about that? Of course, but I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? And you're not there. You've been there. You don't want to be back there. So think about what you're doing when you're giving it up to the perfect creation of sexual monstrosity. So now what's the answer? The best way for a woman to have a man see her for more than her sex is to bring her entire arsenal of goodies to the table and force that man with his impaired vision to see the value of you as a long-term woman. Now quickly, let me add this. The reality is, if you're talking to a man, you pretty much know that most likely you're not going to be the only female that he's dealing with. So let's say, for example, he's dealing with 2 other girls, and you come into the picture and makes you the third. You know 9 out of 10 times those 2 other girls he's dealing with, he's most likely sleeping with. If you begin engaging in the same behavior that they are, what makes you any different? And how is he able to separate you from them? The truth is, he cannot. And again, his vision is impaired, and you are just like them. Therefore, ultimately, you deserve and will receive the same treatment that they do. A late night booty call, if that. You have to come with your A game. You have to come with your cook game, your nurturing game, your stability game, your career game, your independent game, your conversation game. It all has to be together. Because a man doesn't just fall for any woman. He falls for that complete woman that he can't live without or find anywhere else. But above all, you have to come with your patience game. You have to weed out the strong from the weak. And when you give it up, you weed nothing out. And you leave yourself to be victimized. Because when we get down to the reality of it, as a woman, 9 out of 10 times, you're rarely there for the short term. You're always there for the long-term investment. You have to spend all your energy showing him what you bring to the table with long-term value. In reality, it's only after you take a brick of long-term substance and bash his head and his face into it over and over and over again will his ass pop up one day and say, hey, I think I like you. I think you could be the one. But if you're not bashing it into him, then his vision consistently remains the same. So now for a man to see you as more than sex, you have to be willing to captain and steer the ship. And that ship is your own ship, the ship of your future. So you have to be willing to help him see you as more. Because if you're not willing to help him and his impaired vision, then ultimately you're not helping yourself. And you will always remain at square one or single. Now again, I cannot sit here and say that this is the absolute method. But what I can say is it will cut down on the amount of men who end up inside of you with no other purpose than just to be there. My name is Temple Christian, and I thank you for tuning in to Ask a GTV. Get it? Got it? Good. That's my time, y'all. 2 fingers.